on a note of pride. And I want to do that for all sorts of reasons. This is an occasion every year which makes me absolutely proud to have some vague association with this profession. We've got people here from virtually every part of Scotland. We've got people who've travelled miles to be here on a Saturday. And even if you don't get the chance to speak to John, that's an absolutely brilliant message for him to see the numbers of people, the highest number of delegates that we have ever had for a conference here. This is the best turnout we've ever had. It's the widest distribution of people we've ever had. And it speaks to the commitment that there is among Scottish teachers to learn, to do more, and I think in the light of Paul Dix's contribution this afternoon, to care more. And I'm really proud of that as well. There is nowhere else, I don't think, in the United Kingdom, apart from possibly Wales, where there is the same commitment to try and listen to children, to take them from their starting point and move forward from there, to recognise that, as my very good colleague from Les Mahego said this morning, if kids can't read, we teach them to read. If they can't count, we teach them to count. And if they can't behave, we punish them. And there's a really powerful message there, because what we're talking about today in lots of the workshops and lots of the discussion is that idea that children need to learn everything. And so do we. And there's a real commitment to that. But the other thing that I'm so proud of is that in Scotland, we made a commitment, a long time ago, we made a commitment to a curriculum that addressed more than academia, addressed more than content, addressed more than subjects. It was a commitment that we made to educate the whole child to be a citizen. And there must be lots of places in the world after Christchurch waking up and recognising the need to make that commitment. And I think we've made mistakes. We haven't got everything right. Not everything that we've done in Scotland has gone as we would have wanted it to do. We've butted up against some real challenges and some real difficulties. But what you prove is that that commitment to the whole child, to educating the citizen, to be more than an attainment challenge, but to be a service that changes lives. And what I think our job is, and I will be very quick around this, our job as teachers, as educators, is to hold a mirror up to children in which they see a better reflection of themselves than they see when they look in their own, and then work with them to make that reflection the reality. And we need to talk more of education in the language of poetry and aspiration and citizenship, and less in the language of accountancy and targets and benchmarking. And I think there's something that we can take enormous pride in. Angela led some, making ridiculous statements about LGBT education in England. We've got a workshop on it here. We've got workshops in care and well-being. We've got workshops looking at teachers, their health, their well-being. But fundamentally, we've got a conference that's centred on children. And I know that it's a really, really cheap and easy thing to do, but I would just love it if you collectively would just give yourselves a round of applause for that contribution that you're making to make this a country to be proud of. And I'm also really proud, I mean, I get to stand next to him, but, you know, he's out and about a lot, so that's no big deal, really. I get to stand next to this lot. And what we've got here is we've got a significant number of the STEP committee members who are going to stand up and take a bow. And if there's any STEP committee members in the audience, could we also get them to stand up? And I'd like you to identify who you thought it was that stole your car. That was an identity parade, just a wee sort of early starter for you. The reason why they're standing up is we want people to engage with the committee today. Ideally, we would like people to stay on for the AGM at the end of the day. STEP has become a much more ambitious organisation over the last few years. They don't just want to be an organisation that runs a conference. They want to be an organisation that builds and develops ongoing engagement with the profession. They took a huge risk last year. They brought John Jones here. They had a wonderful evening in Edinburgh. We're now talking about what else we might do to try and further build on that and to make more of the connections that we've got. And I know that one of the things that John Swinney is immensely proud of is the moves that he feels we're making in Scottish education to empower head teachers, but more importantly, to empower teachers. And I'll say a bit more about that, but again, the thing that I truly respect about John is he comes to these events as much to listen as he does to speak, and I think that's enormously to his credit. The people who are on the committee will be wearing lanyards. That's not to intimidate you. That's to help it make clearer who they are. So please speak to them. Please consider coming to the AGM. And we've also got a gift for the person out with the committee who's travelled the furthest. So could we have Anne McRae stepping to the stage, please? Because she's come from Garriach High in Torridon. And Torridon Premier. Oh, Gairloch, sorry. And I didn't tell her that when I was chatting to her earlier on, so that's great as well. And that, I think, is absolutely typical of the spirit of the day. So we're delighted to be here. We're delighted to have the company of so many of you here. And now it's my opportunity to introduce John Swinney. Again, John has been so consistent about coming along to and supporting this event. And the key to getting him here is not the opportunity to talk, as I said, it's been the opportunity to listen. Last year he spoke in the afternoon, and that was wonderful because it meant that it gave him more time to do that listening that I spoke about. And when he stood up to speak in the afternoon, all of the first part of his presentation was based on the conversations that he'd had, not on his prepared script. And that was a wonderful start to the afternoon last year. And I think this morning we'll have an equally good start to the conference. He's committed to trying to make a difference, genuinely committed to trying to make a difference. He cares. He's got work to do, and it's not always the case that every single policy that the government supports or backs wins uniform confidence from the profession. But we've reached a deal with teachers in Scotland that's given a significant professional recognition to us. That's something that's not happening elsewhere. We've got a commitment to try and change the nature and the culture of education in Scotland. We've got a willingness to look at adverse childhood experiences, the impact of that, and an effort to try and look at workload. I'm sure there's lots we could tell John about how to do it better. But if we do, he'll listen, he'll take account of it, and he'll weigh that in his considerations. And I would like you, ladies and gentlemen, simply to put your hands together and welcome John Swinney.
Look.